Hello again and welcome to another Mordian Mondays. This is episode 34. So guys, it was so close, but unfortunately I didn't quite manage to complete the Bulgrin squad. I know it was an ambitious target. I know last week I said I am going to get this Bulgrin squad finished, but unfortunately I came up just short. Although, not to be too harsh on myself, I did get the vast majority of the squad done. So if you watched last week's episode, you'll know that I said I'm going to push for the burn. I'm going to get these Bulgrins finished. And despite the fact that I managed to do 2 week 1, 2 week 2, and then 1 week 3, 1 week 4. Despite the fact that I was taking a very long time on each Bulgrin, I was going to push for the burn. And I said I was going to get 3 done in 1 week. And I almost did it, guys. I almost did it. I got all the main painting, washing, and highlighting done on the remaining 3 Bulgrins. And I even got the basing done on them. I do still have to give it a quick wash and do the little red grass tufts. But that takes almost no time at all. And so I actually got all the main painting done, which is good. The thing that really defeated me, though, was doing the little hats for them. To be honest, if I wasn't doing the hats for them, I would have had the squad done this week. But I am doing the little Mordian peaked cats for them. So there you go. Now, just talking about doing these last 3. I will be talking about how I did the hats in a moment. But I really noticed the difference between painting the power shields and painting the slab shields. So because what I did this week was I painted up 2 boneheads with the brute maul and the power shields, and then I painted up 1 regular Bulgrin with slab shield and power maul. Now, you just know the slab shields, they take so much time. They're really big. And they've got lots of little fine edges. So when you're doing the edge highlighting, it takes a long time. Those little power shields, I was able to knock those out in a couple of minutes each one. Honestly, so quick. The slab shields for me just take forever because you've got to build up the layers on those hazard stripes as well. And because you've got lots of, like I said, fine lines where the paint can spill into each other, slab shields do take a long time. So for those of you who are thinking of getting yourself some Bulgrins, just be aware that whilst the big shields are the competitive choice and should definitely make up the majority of the unit, there's a good chance that they will take you a long time, unless you just do it sort of the quick way and just have the shield mostly all one colour. I think the reason why mine were taking so long is I had green and blue on the shields, and then I also had the silver and the gold, and then the hazard stripe, and then the black bit as part of the hazard stripe. And then you've got to do the back of them as well. I imagine if you just had the shield all one colour and then just the hazard stripes and gold symbol, that would probably be enough. Realistically, that would probably be enough. So the other thing to mention is for the big, when I want to run all 9 of them, I'm using the Nork Dead Dog body for the bonehead. So that's the guy I've got at the front here on this main picture. Now, I mentioned this last week, and I'll quickly go over it again. When you build Nork Dead Dog, who's a special character Ogre bodyguard, he's meant to come with his custom Ripper gun and Ooge knife, but I've obviously put the Bulgrin maul on here. I will say it doesn't fit quite flush. You can't notice from a distance, but up close you can definitely see that his arm isn't right in the socket, and that goes for both sides. So doesn't ruin the model in any way, shape or form. It's just something to be aware of. So I know a lot of you will have a few questions about the different coloured sort of moulding material that I've used on these hats. So originally, a few weeks, probably a few months ago now, when I was doing the Ogrins, not Bulgrins, but Ogrins, I used Games Workshop green stuff for the hats. And on the first 2 hats for these Bulgrins, I also used green stuff as well, and it was fine. But it was very, I have to say, my experience with green stuff has been a little mixed. It is very tacky. Now, it does dry very quickly, and in fact, one of the reasons why I didn't get all these hats painted because I was moulding them today, this evening, sorry, but they didn't dry in time. That's because whilst Games Workshop green stuff is very quick drying and it is very tacky, it's difficult to mould with it. It's really difficult to mould with it. So what I did is I tried using Milliput instead. Now, I've used Milliput a number of times for this project, and I've always been very impressed with it. All my bolter sergeants for the guard squads that will be coming up soon, I use a lot of Milliput on those squads, and it's so much more malleable. Is probably the word. It's easier to mould. It's much easier to mould. It's wetter. I tend to find green stuff is very dry, very tacky. Milliput is much wetter, crumblier. It does crumble. Have to be aware of that. But my God, it is so easy to work with. Now, I don't know if that's because I've had my green stuff for a few years now. Maybe it's got all weird and tacky and dried out. But I do remember it being fairly difficult to work with, even with the Ogrins. So yeah, so if I was to give a recommendation, I would actually say if I was to do this again, I would use Milliput. I would use Milliput for all the hats. You know, the green stuff really slowed me down this evening, guys. Really slowed me down. In case anyone's wondering, the symbols that I've used in the hats are all from, the cat badges. They're all from the Scion kit. So in the Scion kit, you get a load of stuff that's for your. You get a load of stuff that's for your like regimental standard. And you get this sort of you get these tassels that hang down off the top of the flag, and on the bottom of each one of those tassels there is a skull. So I use that skull. I just cut the skull off, press it into the middle of the green stuff. It works great. Now I ran out of those. To be honest, I ran out of them because I used the majority of those skulls I used in my Ogren squad, and then I used what I had left in this squad as well. So I had 3-4 guys which I didn't have enough skull cap badges for. So in the Scion kit, there's also a bit that goes on top of the flag that's got 3 Imperial Aquillas, a big one, a medium, and a little one. And I just cut up. I used 3 of the medium ones and 1 of the big ones. And I just use those in the cap badges as well. And again, in retrospect, guys, I actually think that using the mini Aquillas from the Scion kit looks way better than the skull ones, but whatever. I'm not going to go back and redo them all now. Funny thing is I actually made a slight mistake. And if you notice, the Milliput caps are much bigger than the green stuff ones. It just turned out that way, and it was much easier to mould the material. So I ended up using more of it. Those big caps, I actually used the 3 medium-sized Aquillas, and then for the quite small Games Workshop green stuff cap, I used the big one. I was meant to do it the other way around, but it doesn't matter in the end of the day. It's one cap out of all of them, and it does kind of make that Ogre look kind of unique, where he's got this quite small hat that he's put this massive cap badge on. It's quite funny. It's not on these close-up ones, but you might see him. He's in the bottom right of the big pitch that's coming up, and you'll notice he's got the big cap badge. Should be coming up in a second. There you go. You might be able to see it. It's quite obvious now that I've pointed it out. So there we go, guys. So that's all the hobbying stuff done. Man, I have to say I'm glad I'm done with these Bulgrins. Big old squad of 9, just doing them week after week after week. It will have taken me well over a month to do 9 of them, which is less than 2 a week. And it is less than 2 a week. I have glued all the Bulgrin walls in, but I haven't glued I think I've glued 2 of the shields in because they wouldn't stay in. The rest of them I just pushed fit. 1 power shield, 1 slab shield is glued in. The rest I just pushed in. Yeah, man, I'm glad to see the back of these guys. As much as I love the big, lovable brutes, when I got to, after I'd done about 6 of them, I was like, okay, I've had enough. And then I had to continue on and do another, like, 3 this week. It was difficult to find the motivation, I won't lie. Yeah, they are good. I don't think competitively I'll ever field a big squad of 9. It's a 350 point investment to do such a thing. However, with the completion of this squad, this big squad, and I am extremely close to having a 2,000 point pure infantry army, because these guys really eat into the points. Both a good thing and a bad thing. Means I can use 2,000 point army quicker, but also means that I will have less actual basic infantry in my army. So the thing is, with these guys, when these guys are finished, which I'll do throughout this week, that won't be a problem. When these guys are finished, I'm going to get a second Plasma Veteran squad painted up. I'm going to use loads of Scion Beret heads on those guys. I think I'm going to start including a few more berets in the army. I think a mixture of berets and peak caps is going to look very cool and help mix some of the squads up a little bit. So it's going to be probably some peak caps and some berets. I'm going to be using 3 plasma guns. I'm going to be using a Colonel Schaffer model, old metal Colonel Schaffer model, plasma pistol and power sword for the veteran leader. Once that plasma veteran squad's done, I am on something like 1,950 points. And then I think it's 1,953 points. And that means I have 47 points left over to get to 2,000 points. And I think I'm going to include a Scion squad. Which would be very interesting. And then I'll have 2,000 points. 2,000 points right on the nose. And my 2,000 point list will be 12 infantry. Well, it'll be. I'll go over with you guys now, and you guys can tell what you think. So obviously, it isn't competitive. This is what I'll have built, and I won't have to buy loads of upgrades to make it work. It won't be super optimized, but it's got some interesting tricks in there. So I'll have 2 battalions. Correction, I'll have 3 battalions. The 1st battalion / platoon, 6 infantry squads, 2 with missile launcher and grenade launcher, and 1 of them with las cannon and grenade launcher. Sergeant's got las pistol and chainsword. And then I have 3 more infantry squads, 2 with flamers, 1 with a melter gun. The melter gun squad will have a power sword and las pistol sergeant. One of the flamer squads will also have a power sword and las pistol sergeant, and one of them will have a las pistol and chainsword. That's just the way that's the models I have. Then I'll have a squad of mortars, a squad of veterans with 3 plasma guns, plasma pistols and a power sword, and 6 ogrins. And leading that, the characters for that will be a company commander with bolter, Lord Commissar with bolter and power sword, a platoon commander with a power sword, and a priest with las pistol and chainsword. So that's the 1st battalion. Obviously, the ogrins are there because I've painted them, and they also help. They add 180 points in, but it also gives me some cheap muscle. 2nd battalion will be very much focused on assaulting the enemy. So we'll have another 6 infantry squads. This time, no heavy weapons in those squads, none. Okay, we're going to be focused. We're going to have 4 melter gun and power sword squads. All right. Now that's a lot of that's a lot of anti-tank. That's a lot of power swords. Those are my assault infantry squads. We'll then have 2 more squads of flamers. One of those flamer squads will have a power sword, and one of those flamer squads will have a plasma pistol. In fact, forgive me, one of the melter squads got las pistol and chainsword. Haven't got a power sword model there. So still, we're looking at, I think, 4 power swords in that squad, in that platoon, 4 melter guns, plasma pistol, and 2 flamers. I mean, that's still a decent amount of assault weaponry, anti-tank in there. There'll be another veteran squad, triple plasma gun, plasma pistol, power sword. Give some real teeth to the platoon. One of those squads will be out. Anyway, we'll get into that in a second. And then we have another mortar squad. And then we have the big 9-man Bulgrin squad. Big old Bulgrin squad. Leading that will be the same complement of characters. We'll have a company commander this time with las pistol and chainsword, and we'll have a Lord Commissar with bolt pistol and power sword. That's what he's modelled with. And then we'll have a junior officer, platoon commander, with a las pistol and power fist. And then we will have, last but not least, a Ministorm priest, autogun, las pistol and chainsword. So that's the first 2 battalions, the regular infantry battalions, 2 full platoons. And what you're looking at there is, between the 2 of them, you've got 2 squads of mortars. That's good for digging enemies out of cover. You've got 2 squads of plasma veterans, one of which will outflank with my relic, which will be the Dagger of Tusaka. Traditionally, that's first platoon's squad that will do that. Yes, more than likely, that will mean that the second squad of veterans will be exposed. But the plan is to make use of the new Bulgrin stratagem from Psychic Awakening and put those veterans behind that big wall of Bulgrins. That's not the job of the Bulgrins. The Bulgrins, I'm not spending 350 points to bodyguard a 92 point unit. No, not at all. It's just that will enable that the Bulgrins are going to be there. I might as well put the veterans behind them, and then if someone wants to target the veterans, I can make that bit more difficult. I can spend 1 CP, those veterans now -1 to hit. And I could also spend 1 CP and make them +1 armor save. And they could be in cover already. So that would mean we'd have a 3-up save -1 to hit veteran squad. That would probably discourage someone. Or it would take up a lot of their firepower to kill them. So that's good. So that's the thinking. 1 veteran squad outflanks, 1 veteran squad is going to be behind the Bulgars. Now, the last battalion will be my Scion detachment. It's probably worth talking about this now, guys. Before Psychic Awakening the Greater Good, I was convinced that I would be running these Scions as Grenadiers, Deathcore Crew Grenadiers. With the release of the new Psychic Awakening stuff, it doesn't make sense to do that anymore. I will be running them as Scions. Simple as that. So in that Scion 3rd Battalion Scion detachment, I'm going to have 2 Tempesta Primes, one with a plasma pistol and one with a hotshot las pistol and power sword. Then I'll have 4 Scion squads, all of them 5-man, one with a flamer and a melter gun, one with a flamer and a plasma gun, one with a grenade launcher and a plasma gun, and one with 12 points worth of equipment. I haven't quite decided on what I'll give them yet. Likely, with 12 points of equipment, likely I could go double flamer, which I know sounds mad, right? Why would you go double flamer? But it's an option, it's a possibility. Or I could go for just a single plasma gun and a bolt pistol, something like that. Haven't decided yet, but the point is that I have, or I could go for double grenade launcher. Now the reason I think I'm going double grenade launcher is because I was probably going to run these guys as Lambden Lions, and grenade launchers get quite good with Lambden Lions because they become AP -2. And all those flamers that I was running that I thought were crap, but was building them because they were, I was building one good weapon and one bad weapon with my Scions. I'll get into that another time. But like I said, now the reason I was doing it was because I knew we're going to start off topic now, but I knew if I built all plasma on my Scions, I wouldn't paint up the other models, and I want to get them. I want to encourage them. So for every plasma and melter that I paint up, I also balance it by painting up a flame or a grenade launcher. But anyway, so that's the list. That's the list. So, yeah. So what so the list is 2,000 points if I run a couple of double flamer squads, double flamers on that Scion squad. And what's the total? So you've got 120 line infantry plus 20 veterans. That's 140 infantry. Combine that with the 20 Scions, So 160 infantry. And combine that with all the characters, 4, 4 and 2, look at 180. The 2, 180, 170, sorry. Yeah, 120, 140, 160, 170. Combine that with the 2 heavy weapon teams, you're looking at 182 now, 182. And then you've got the Ogrins, which becomes 188, and then you've got the Bogrins, which becomes 197. 197 models in my 2,000 point infantry list. That'll be the case. So 3 under 200, but basically I'll have 200. What you have to, which is low for a pure infantry army at 2,000 points. I am aware of this. However, take into account that I have 9 Bulgrins and 6 Ogrins. That's 15 3+ save, 3 wound models. So actually, instead of saying, oh, that they're 15 extra models, you might as well say they're 45 extra models. And the Bulgrins have got a better save than all the Guardsmen squads, and they're tougher. The Ogres have got the same save, but they're tougher than regular Guardsmen. So actually, what you have is you've got 2 Bruiser units. Ogrins and Bulgrins. Admittedly, the Bulgrins are way better than the Ogrins, but the Ogrins are still a bit of a distraction card effects unit. So you've got Ogrins and Bulgrins, which will just be, pardon me, smashing it up the field. And then behind this, you're going to have a whole boatload of infantry. Now, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I reckon that I'll be using the with this style list. I think it makes more sense to use Lord's Approval and Slum Fighters for my custom regiment for them. That's what I think, because if you look through the weapon options I have on those squads, I have no rapid fire special weapons. I have no bolters on the sergeants. It's all assault weaponry and it's power swords, baby. So it makes a hell of a lot of sense. If this army is designed to get into combat and just beat the crap out of people, then it makes sense that I should just be taking the traits for that. And I want to be moving and advancing every single turn to get into combat as quickly as possible. So that's the plan. So what will happen is I'll have 3 squads, which will be fire support, but their job, the missile launchers and grenade launchers and the lance cannon and grenade launcher, their job will be to pretty much objective camp, be a bit of OBSEC objective camping along with the mortars, who are obviously non-OBSEC objective campers, and they'll be to hold my back line. So I'll have about 42 infantry holding my back line, which means the remaining 155, if you include all the Ogrins and the Bulgrins, they'll be storming it. They'll be stormtrooping as fast as they can towards the enemy. Now, appreciate that I'm going to have a lot of, the Ogrins and the Bulgrins will actually be the slower units. They'll be the slower units because the other squads will be able to move. So what I will, so the infantry will probably hit them first. If I've got 6 orders a turn, 7 if you include my warlord trait, but if I've got 7 orders a turn that I can use on those infantry, on those 100, those 90 infantry and one of the veteran squads, then I'll be able to push quite a lot of the infantry up. That's really good, and that's assuming I don't have a commander babysitting the fire support teams. We'll see how that goes. The Scions obviously won't be pushing up the board on foot; they'll be deep striking in. So we'll have 90 infantry supported by 15 abhumans. They'll be smashing up the board, and the Scions will come in turn 2 and exploit, and open up a second front. 20 Scions with a decent amount of plasma and melter and grenade launchers and shit like that. that will open up a second front. And that will be their plan. They will come in coordinated as a 20-man group. 22 if you include the characters. So there you go, guys. That is the hobby corner. That is the tactics. That's a preview of what the lists are going to look like. I'm very excited. I hope you guys are very excited. Let me know what you think down below of the list. Let me know what you think of the big full-size Bulgrim squad. I hope you enjoyed this video. And of course, I'll see you guys next time.